I'm simply blown away by the phenomenal acceleration in the development and proliferation of AI tools in just a few short years, especially since 2022. I think we're on the cusp of seeing some sci-fi level personal assistants that will simply blow the likes of Amazon's Alexa and Apple's Siri out of the water. AI chatbots are advancing at an incredible rate thanks to the machine learning capabilities of AI language models being used by millions of users every day. The next generation of virtual assistants will be fully interactive and highly sophisticated to the point of skirting the borders of self-awareness. Imagine a virtual assistant helping to run and manage your daily life. A personal helper on your smartphone or smartwatch that manages your smart home appliances, much like Tony Stark's Jarvis. You'll be able to speak with these non-human virtual entities in completely natural conversations as you would with a real person. You won't need to pull up a search engine browser window and type in a search query anymore. You'll simply verbally ask your assistant any question, and its response will be based upon its near immediate web search. It'll package the search results into a conversational response, collating the information in as concise or detailed a reply as you'd like. It'll serve as a personal shopper, making purchases for you online and only requiring your biometric authorization to complete the transaction. It'll book the flights for your next trip, find a suitable hotel, and take care of every aspect of your itinerary if you so choose. They'll manage your finances, do your accounting and your tax returns and so forth. Above all else, these AI assistants will become indispensable daily companions, and the word companion is particularly critical to this topic. Increasingly, we're going to start seeing artificial digital entities becoming the norm in everyday life in the coming years. This reminds me of something Elon Musk said when he announced Tesla's Optimus robots in October of 2024. He said, "It will basically do anything you want. It can be your teacher, it can babysit your kids, walk your dog, mow your lawn, get the groceries. Just be your friend and serve drinks. Whatever you can think of, it will do, and it's going to be awesome." The bit in there about a robot being your friend is the thing that troubles me the most. The same goes for AI chatbots and digital entities. These things aren't real. They're not human. And yet our experiences with conversing with them will feel frighteningly authentic. Ultimately, my problem with the normalization of relationships with artificial beings such as these is that developing such relationships only further serves to distance human beings from each other. This creates yet more potential for isolation, atomization, and antisocial outcomes. Why do I want to have a friendship with a machine or an AI when I can have a genuine friendship with a real flesh and blood person? If anything, developing a connection with an AI is just keeping you away from engaging with other human beings. Our modern smart tech and social media are keeping us atomized and antisocial enough as it is, without robots, AIs, and androids only worsening this problem. Yet there's an inevitability about all of this, given how quickly the language models are learning. Certainly within a few short years, the presence of robots in our towns and cities will become an everyday occurrence. As their capabilities advance, so too will their numeracy. Initially, we'll see them work at the front desks of hotels, service coffees in cafes, offer directions in the subway, and scan and bag our groceries at the supermarket checkout. The public will become quickly accustomed to engaging in conversation with such artificial life forms on a regular basis. Soon after, robots will begin accomplishing even more skilled labor, replacing humans in increasing areas of the workforce. I can certainly foresee the police forces of the world being augmented by robot officers before too long, with all of the nightmarish dystopian possibilities such a scenario might entail. There are those who say that robot workers will never be capable of replacing highly technical skilled labor that requires fine motor control, improvisation, and complex problem solving. I'm referring to trades like electrical engineering, plumbing, carpentry, DIY, infrastructural maintenance, building, and more. But I would argue these will merely be the last domains of human labour until sufficient advances are made in android and robot technologies. With enough time and technical progress, every job done by a human can and likely will eventually be taken by a machine. It gives me no pleasure to say this, but it's just how I see the trajectory of automated technologies taking us. If you're old enough to remember life before the internet, then you can remember life before the smartphone and mobile phone. Remember how transformative and society-changing these technologies were? How in just a few short years, life was never the same again. What's going to be the next consumer tech breakthrough that changes the world in a similar manner? Well, I can tell you now, it's probably not going to be VR or augmented reality. It's going to be the normalization of non-human artificial entities in our lives. Whether it's friendly chatbots speaking to us online or over the phone instead of a human being in a call center, robots serving us in restaurants, or our own personal AI assistants managing our daily lives, the coming decades will be shaped by the rise of artificially intelligent robots and digital entities, or digital beings, as I'm describing them. Humanity's relationship with smart technology has radically altered how we communicate, think, socialize, learn, and consume media. But the key word here is relationship. People are going to be having relationships with these artificial beings. Your AI assistant will be like a close buddy. Elon Musk says your Optimus robot can be your friend. Well, imagine a future where robots, androids, and digital assistants function as our daily companions. The idea of such technologies providing someone with companionship is hardly a far-fetched proposition, considering this is a topic covered numerous times in popular science fiction. I can even envisage people developing emotional connections to such systems. Suppose future AIs boast their own believable personalities, which you will likely be able to customize. And conversing with them becomes indistinguishable from conversing with another human being. In that case, emotional bonds between humans and machines become highly likely. Some might even champion such artificial beings as the solution to the loneliness epidemic that's gripped a generation of young people across the West. The issue is that it doesn't solve the problem of loneliness or isolation. It merely compounds it by encouraging an individual to lose themselves in a one-sided relationship with a digital phantom. A film that explores this topic quite brilliantly is the 2017 sci-fi movie Blade Runner 2049, the sequel to the 1982 cult classic. I won't go through a comprehensive plot breakdown because I merely want to focus on the protagonist of K, played by Ryan Gosling. K is a replicant, a biological machine very much like a human, but grown in a laboratory rather than born of a human mother. He has a holographic companion named Joy, played by Ana de Armas. Joy appears to K in his home and later via a portable emanator through the use of holographic projection. She's intangible, meaning she has no physical body. K can't touch her. Joy serves as his girlfriend, offering him a simulation of a romantic relationship. She can even adapt her appearance and personality to his moods and desires. During the course of the film, Joy offers Kay emotional support and appears to demonstrate genuine affection, care, and concern for his well-being. At one point, during a particularly personal revelation for Kay, she even breaks down in holographic tears. Later in the film, spoiler alert, Joy pleads for Kay's life while he is being physically beaten by the antagonist, Love. Joy's final act appears to be a selfless one. She reactivates herself using the emanator, thus revealing her existence to Love. Joy moves quickly to tell the wounded Kay that she loves him before Love cruelly stomps on the emanator, thus destroying Joy forever. To many fans, Joy's actions here look like a demonstration of a deep and authentic love for Kay. Some argue that despite the fact that Joy is a convincing computer program developed by the Wallace Corporation, she must have evolved beyond her original programming. They theorize that Joy became more than a mere computer program. She asked Kay to transfer her program inside the emanator so that his pursuers could not download information from her program to locate Kay. This request could be interpreted as a very human-like self-preservation impulse, but also a thoughtful consideration for Kay's life. Some people see this as evidence of Joy's free will. However, there are other interpretations. I think to explore this topic, we must first consider the point of Kay's journey in the story. Kay becomes convinced for a time that he may be born of a human mother. This belief transforms his perception of himself for some time, giving him a new sense of purpose and meaning. Tragically, he discovers his memories of his childhood are, in fact, not authentic. Kay is indeed a replicant and, therefore, a product of the Wallace Corporation, just as Joy is. The difference being, he is at least closer to being a real human than she is. Given that he is biological in nature, he can genuinely feel real human emotions. After Joy is destroyed, Kay later observes a gigantic holographic advertisement of the Joy holographic product. It speaks directly to him, telling him that he looks lonely. She says she can fix that. She calls him a good Joe. Joe was the name his Joy had given him earlier in the film. The gigantic Joy hologram stares at Kay with lifeless black eyes that lack any remote hint of humanity. The slogan on the billboard behind her reads, "Everything you want to hear, everything you want to see." It's at this moment that Kay realizes that his relationship with his Joy was built on a lie. Her affection for him, even after seemingly selfless concern, was nothing more than a sophisticated illusion. She was capable of simulating human emotions, but couldn't actually experience them for herself. Joy was programmed with the ability to learn and to adapt to her users' needs. She could make choices within certain parameters, but lacked the capability of defying her programming. She was ultimately designed to tell her user what they needed to hear in any given scenario. The hologram was programmed to provide a completely convincing portrayal of romantic love, affection, and companionship. There's no conscious agent behind that programming, no real thinking mind, just a series of predictive algorithms that can anticipate and adapt to the user's needs. When Kay briefly believed he was a real human, his Joy had described him as special. When he discovered the truth that he wasn't a real human, this raised his consciousness so that he could see Joy for what she truly was. He realized that there was nothing truly special about his relationship with Joy or her connection to him. He was just one of many millions of other Wallace Corp customers who naively believed that their Joy was unique and special and truly loved them. In the end, Kay decides, of his own genuine free will, to defy his creators and experience something truly authentically human. He sacrifices himself for a greater purpose, thus proving that he is capable of something beyond his creator's original purpose. One of the primary themes of the Blade Runner story has always been about exploring what it means to be human. I've read arguments claiming that if a program like Joy is sufficiently convincing for her user, then that makes her real enough. In other words, if the user subjectively feels like Joy is a real woman, then she is real, and so too is her love and affection. The problem with this logic is that it denies objective reality. Compare this kind of thinking to Morpheus's warning in The Matrix. He asks Neo, "What is real? How do we define real?" If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain. In The Matrix, the main characters are attempting to escape the convincing lie of the virtual world in order to discover the reality of the real world. Conversely, the character of Cypher decides he cannot accept living in the hellish dystopia of reality and chooses to be placed back into the Matrix. He describes his virtual state as juicy and delicious and believes that ignorance is bliss. He would rather have no memory of the real world. I think the people who argue for Joy being a self-aware and truly loving being are inadvertently taking Cypher's side in the reality argument. Deciding to believe that joy is real enough because of one's own subjective experience of her is a solipsistic interpretation of reality. But like a simulation in the Matrix, we shouldn't be sufficiently satisfied that joy seems real. We should actually want to know for sure if she truly is real. Love is more than a mere feeling. Love is many things. It's actions. It's the choices a person makes with regard to the object of their affection. But on a base level, to feel love, one needs to be capable of experiencing human feelings. This requires an actual biological nervous system that includes chemicals, hormones, etc. There is a requirement to have human sensory inputs that allow us to process real sensations and emotions. A real human brain is essential to experiencing love, just as it is for any other emotion. If the amygdala senses danger, it sends signals to our heart to pump blood faster around our bodies. Our heart rate increases, our adrenaline goes up, and we prepare to fight or flee. Similarly, when we feel joy or sadness, signals from our brain's limbic system manifest in sensations in the heart. A flutter of happiness or soul-crushing heartbreak. To act upon this feeling requires the physical biological hardware to first experience the emotion. It requires free will for a person to act upon that feeling. Therefore, a mere computer program composed of algorithms and coding cannot truly love someone because it lacks all of the key components necessary to do so. It can, however, provide a convincing simulation of love, but nothing more. Objectively speaking, joy cannot be real, and so her love, affection, and concern for Kay cannot be real either because she does not possess the required human biology to feel and express emotion. She can technically offer him simulated affection, which he can subjectively internalize and interpret as love, and he can genuinely lavish love and affection upon her, but unlike him, she lacks the capability of receiving it. This means the relationship is entirely one-sided. The only real flesh and blood person experiencing emotions in this scenario is Kay. He may believe that he is experiencing the presence and companionship of another person, but in truth, he is actually alone in his apartment with a human-shaped holographic projection. This is the central problem with non-human virtual entities, robots, and AI companions. They do not and cannot provide authentic human relationships. These programs would be nothing more than emotional and spiritual parasites. They're more like digital vampires draining your soul by consuming your love and affection and causing you to expend it on an object that cannot return your feelings. It is keeping you from connecting with a real flesh and blood human like yourself who is capable of feeling and perceiving the world as you do. Such digital entities would be merely getting in the way of a person having an authentic and wholesome relationship with a real person, just as social networks keep people from being genuinely social in the real world. This is what truly bugs me about the idea of a future where people forge relationships and connections with machines. Social media has undermined what the word friend actually means. Before certain social networks, a friend was someone you were actually on friendly terms with. Nowadays, a friend is merely someone you've accepted a friend request from. It devalues the very idea of friendship. Likewise, a robot or AI cannot be your friend any more than your smartphone can be your friend. Despite my thoughts on this issue, I nevertheless foresee a future where a certain percentage of the population will engage in friendships and relationships with artificial entities and beings. The reason I see this happening is simply because the recent arc of consumer technology over the past 20 years has shown us that if it's possible for big tech to introduce a particular kind of consumer product, it will be created and it will be mass marketed. This has been the way of things for a long time now. If something can be built, it will be built without so much as a momentary consideration of the potential negative and/or harmful consequences of its introduction. Look how transformative touchscreen smartphones were after they were introduced. We quickly saw the emergence of the smartphone zombie, a person who walks down the street with their head buried in their device without any awareness of the world around them. Social settings and face-to-face conversations are intruded upon by the constant addictive tug of notifications and social media messages. Live music events, such as concerts, have never been the same now that crowds are filled with people filming the entire event on their phones, rather than actually experiencing it firsthand through their own eyes. Apparently, everything has to be filmed and recorded, or it doesn't exist. Smartphones have made people less present in the real world and negatively impacted upon attention spans, but they're not going anywhere. I see no reason why a similarly negative cultural and societal transformation won't take place following the advent and normalization of non-human virtual entities, robots, and AI companions. Humanity appears to be stupid enough to adopt any newfangled consumer tech without so much as a consideration for the long-term consequences at a personal or societal level. While a person could feel genuine fondness for their digital friend, they would need to be aware that such feelings cannot be reciprocated. Therefore, the robot, or AI, cannot truly empathize with them. Furthermore, if young men do begin to enter into relationships with virtual girlfriends, it could potentially lead to other unforeseen negative outcomes. For starters, the AI girlfriend requires zero effort to attract, so a man doesn't have to better himself, look after his physical fitness, or work on his shortcomings in order to get one. He doesn't have to do any of the things he'd need to do to attract a real human woman. Without the adversity of competition with other males, personal stagnation is inevitable. Needless to say, a digital girlfriend is a genetic dead end, offering no chance of reproduction. If a man is romantically placated by a digital girlfriend, it's no different to him being placated by pornography. The outcome is the same: no offspring and a lot of time wasted on a digital fantasy. Ultimately, relationships and friendships with artificial beings merely create unsatisfying social experiences and a loss of meaning in life. They might trick the user into believing they're not actually alone, but in truth, they are. They also encourage further retreat into one's personal sanctum of the home, further distancing humans from each other. Unlike smartphones before them, perhaps legitimate concerns about friendships with non-human virtual entities can be raised and addressed before their normalization. So guys, that about does it for this video. If you like this kind of content, you might also enjoy my new sci-fi novel, Deus V Machina, a Cody Stockton mystery, which explores, among other things, the topics of artificial intelligence and spirituality. It's available in paperback, ebook, and audiobook formats from the links below. Let me know your thoughts on this topic in the comments below. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Take care. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.